Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having an awesome week. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about something that we have had tons of questions about lately. I sent out an email a few days ago about semaglutide. And since then, I've just had so many questions and people asking this and that. And so I kind of wanted to go over those, and hopefully this will kind of help you guys understand the difference. So first and foremost, semaglutide and tirzepatide, okay? So why should you take one over the other? So I'm going to be honest with you. All right, I think I'm back. Okay, so let's go over that, right? So I sent an email out a few days ago about semaglutide and, just how awesome it is basically and how I've been on it. And so then we got a lot of questions asking about, okay, semaglutide, tirzepatide, the deal, what, all that, okay? So let's first go over a few things, okay? 90% of our patients do fantastic on semaglutide, okay? Now, if money is not a factor for you, and you're like, hey, I just want to go straight to tirzepatide, awesome, okay? But if we are comparing in our clinic, okay, I know that there have been actual studies done, right, where when they compared semaglutide and tirzepatide definitely did have, geez, we are having some major issue connections here today. So I do know that you can't deny that, right? So definitely, they have done comparisons, semaglutide, tirzepatide has definitely had bigger weight loss, okay? I'm talking about in our clinic though, okay? In our clinic, 90% of our patients are on semaglutide, right? The ones that are on it. And out of those 90%, they are doing fabulous, okay? As far as the weight loss goes, okay? I recommend people switch to tirzepatide when they are on the highest dose of semaglutide, right? So when someone gets up to that 2.4 dose and they're just feeling like maybe it's not as strong anymore or they're not losing as much, okay, then I definitely think we should switch over to tirzepatide. However, you have to remember with tirzepatide, right? The starting dose of tirzepatide is that 2.5, right? That's what the starting dose is. So it's not like that is the same dose as a 2.4 semaglutide. Okay, so if you're already taking a 2.4 semaglutide, you should probably, when you start tirzepatide, start at the 5 milligrams. Okay, then from there, maybe you go up to 7.5. We even have some patients that are at the 10 milligrams on tirzepatide. Okay, so once again, if price isn't a factor for you, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yes. Granted, if you're going to compare them, right? If we're just comparing them straight up, of course, I do personally think tirzepatide probably is better. But I don't think that it's like that much better, right? If price is an issue, to go that way. I definitely don't. We have seen so many amazing, amazing results, okay? Now, if you're someone that's kind of gotten sick, right? Kind of tired a lot, headaches, okay? On semaglutide, you're having those side effects really bad, then I would recommend tirzepatide, okay? But for 90% of our patients, semaglutide is awesome. It's kicking butt, right? If you're not at the highest dose right now on semaglutide and you're losing weight, there's absolutely no reason to switch to tirzepatide at all. You're losing weight, you're doing great, you're not at the highest dose, perfect. Then you stay at semaglutide, okay? But when I would switch to tirzepatide is one, you're at the highest dose and you're not losing, okay? However, but even before you do that, I would say let's really take a look at your diet, right? And once again, a cost factor. If there's no cost factor here, yeah, I agree. Switch over to the tirzepatide, okay? Nicole saying semaglutide made her so sick. How much is tirzepatide? I should have had the prices for you guys on there. But Nicole, what I would recommend doing, right, which is so nice, is just try one shot first of tirzepatide. See how you're feeling, right? That's what's so nice is that I don't want anybody to go in and waste a whole month, right? Just first try one, make sure you don't feel sick, maybe try another one. And then if you're not feeling sick, right, okay, then do that whole week. So I can only tell you guys from personal experience, okay? As you guys know, I did semaglutide for probably over a year. When we got Tirzepatide, as you guys know, I have tried everything that I sell. There's been multiple times where we've had different things that different pharmacies have wanted us to sell. I've tried it and I'm like, no, I don't believe in it. I don't stand by it. It made me feel terrible, whatever it might be, and I don't, okay? So when we started doing Tirzepatide, I switched to Tirzepatide, okay? I lost all my weight, okay? I always say that like I'm at like my golden weight, okay? Like it has been so hard for me to like be at this weight before semaglutide, right? I would kill myself day in, day out, right? To be where I am now, right? This is what I do. And I don't care what anybody says, but I stand behind that. If I'm going to represent my brand, I better look the part. Okay. So yes, I've never been somebody who's been like, ever since I lost, that 100 pounds, but to do this, right, I've had to be that example, set that example, right? And so I would work out, sometimes twice a day. I was, watching every little thing I do, right? And so what semaglutide has done for me, right, in that last year was if I had some spaghetti, right? I have spaghetti all the time now. For the last 18 years of my life, okay, I didn't have very much spaghetti in my life. Right? I really didn't, okay? I didn't have very much, just whatever it might have been, okay? There's nothing that's not off limits, okay? And what that has shown me is one that I've told you guys, I have a binging problem, okay? That is completely gone with me being on semaglutide. I cannot binge, okay? I would go to dinner and I would come home and I would be craving something and I would be going through my cupboard and I would be eating stuff still at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, you guys know this. I don't hide this from you guys, okay? But being on semaglutide, when I was on semaglutide for that whole year, I don't do that anymore, like ever. I have not done that in a year. Those were normal behaviors for me, okay? Those were normal behaviors. So the highest I got up to on semaglutide was 1.25, okay? And that is where I lost all of my weight. I didn't lose it super fast. I wasn't doing it for that reason. I didn't have a bunch of weight to lose when I started it. Once again, I started semaglutide just to be able to see what would my patients feel. How would it feel? And then I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I freaking loved it, right? The biggest factor for semaglutide is it keeps that blood sugar stable. So when you do eat something a little bit that has higher carbs, right? Higher sugar, okay? It stabilizes that blood sugar. So we're never getting those huge insulin spikes, which what happens then, you get fat storage, right? It doesn't allow that. Okay, so that's what's been such a game changer for me personally, right? I'm traveling all over the place all the time between my one son who's in med school in Guadalajara, my daughter who's in South Carolina now. I got my offices in Rancho, my other offices in Texas. So I'm traveling all over the place, right? Once again, I tell you guys all the time, those are excuses, but it doesn't matter. I'm on the road. I'm not eating always the best. And now I don't have those weight fluctuations like I used to. I stay right at the golden weight, which is crazy and absurd. And I've never done that my whole life, right? So those are the factors about the semaglutide, okay? Now, let me just make sure I don't miss any of these. What dose do you recommend for maintenance? So, Carla, that's a great question, all right? For me personally, since I've been, and when I was on the semaglutide, I would just stay between that 0.75 and 1. That's what I would do, just depending on how I was feeling. Now, we have a lot of girls at the office. I'm sure you guys have seen them. It has changed their life. They are freaking killing it. Some are still on it. Some, got to their goal weight. But they stayed at like 0.75 or 0.50. That's all they do. We have other patients who will do like 1 milligrams, but they've spread it out to every 2 weeks. Right? And so now they spread it out. So maintenance really depends on you and how you're feeling, right? That's kind of where you guys got to just kind of play with it and see. I think a 0.50 every week is great for maintenance though. It's great, right? Even if you might not be feeling it, it's still working. It's still going to keep your blood sugar stable. So if you kind of have those spikes, you might not feel that fullness, right? But it's still going to work great. So that's what I recommend. However, you really have to see where you're at, okay? You think it helped reverse those binging habits, even getting off semi. So now what I was telling you guys is I have switched to Tirzepatide. Okay. I did that when we got that just because I was like, okay, let me see how I feel. When I personally was on semaglutide, for probably like the first 6 months, tiredness was a real thing for me. As you guys know, we're a huge advocate of when you're on semaglutide and you have any bit of tiredness or lethargic, we push the glutathione. And I do that because for me personally, it was a game changer, okay? But my tiredness is probably different than a lot of other people's tiredness, okay? I wake up at 4 a.m., I go to the gym, right? And so for me, it was just that 4 a.m. slot was so hard for me to do that, right? So that was the hardest thing for me. So when I switched over to Tirzepatide, that has been the game changer for me. Tiredness. I will tell you guys, I don't think Tirzepatide makes you feel as full though. When I was on Semaglutide, I definitely felt like fuller, right? Because remember, Semaglutide and Tirzepatide, they're both those GLP-1s, right? Which, what do? They help food digest slower to make you stay fuller longer, okay? So because of that, I feel like Tirzepatide doesn't make me have that really fullness thing. I take 5 milligrams of Tirzepatide. I've been doing that for probably the last 2 months now. And once again, guys, I'm going to be completely transparent and honest with you guys. I'm addicted to it. It's given me no stress with food, okay? I have had so much stress around food, right? Not around it, but one, to represent what RCMC stands for, right? Like, I'm sorry, but like, you cannot have an owner look like she doesn't represent her brand. Me personally, I believe that. And so that's what I stand for. And so, so for me, right, it's just been more of a stress, like, hey, you got to represent your brand. And so now to not have that stress has been a game changer for me, an absolute game changer. So, so I have been on 5 milligrams of Tirzepatide, probably for the last 2 months. Okay. Other than what I just said, I don't notice a big difference. And so that's why if you're someone who like, Nicole, who got really sick on Sema, I definitely would try Tirzepatide. We have seen great results. People switching that were sick on Semaglutide to Tirzepatide. Great. Once again, the nice thing is only try one, right? Just try one, see how you're feeling. And then if you do another one, right? Don't try and go up super fast. There's no reason for that. Okay. And then I want to remind you guys, is it a peptide? Yep. Those are all, they're all peptides, right? I have this heater on, I'm freezing. Tirzepatide, Semaglutide, yes, okay? I also want to remind you guys that a lot of people don't realize, okay? When you are taking Semaglutide and Tirzepatide, the goal is to eat a good, healthy, high-protein breakfast, okay? We're actually changing our protocol to now be breakfast and dinner and a shake for lunch, right? The reason is because remember, you want to eat because once you eat, now it's going to digest slower and it's going to make you full longer. That's the whole point. But if you don't put anything in you, then it doesn't even get to work, right? You want to turn that baby on. So if you guys are on Semaglutide right now, your goal should always be to eat a big breakfast, okay? Because what's going to happen now is you're going to get that medication working, right? You're going to turn that baby on to where now it's going to keep you full throughout the day and you're not going to snack on anything, right? You're not going to have those little like, oh, I am hungry, I'm just going to snack on the wrong things. No, eat a good sized breakfast, right? Eat a good sized breakfast and you are going to see how freaking awesome Tirzepatide or Semaglutide is. Okay. So I want to remind you guys about that. Now, also remember, okay, when you guys are on like a maintenance dose and sometimes you might even be, you know, at the highest dose, before you switch to Tirzepatide, you need to try what I'm telling you. You need to try having a huge breakfast, okay? A huge breakfast and seeing if that makes a difference, okay? Because I'm telling you, so many of you guys, what's going on is when you get to that higher dose, we're kind of letting a little bit of those bad habits creep back in, right? And so then if you guys always see, right, we have a lot of patients that have had like, you know, maybe the gastric or the sleeve or something like that done. And just because they can't eat a lot, but when they do eat, it's very high caloric foods. So even though they can't eat a lot, they're not eating a lot. When they are eating, it's very high caloric, so they're still not able to lose weight, okay? And the way that we change that, the way we flip that switch is instead you eat a really high protein breakfast, like 40, 50 grams, get in a little bit of carbs with your breakfast, right? So like if you were on protocol, you would do your 4 ounces of protein, your 8 ounces of veggies, and your breadstick, right? And your breadstick, maybe even your fruit. You do the whole shebang for breakfast, right? And then you see how long that will last. And I think when you do that, you are going to be shocked at like, wow, okay, that is the golden ticket to making me all throughout the day. Then when dinner comes, you just have a good little dinner and you're going to be solid. Okay. That's what makes semaglutide and tirzepatide so freaking awesome, is if you do that. Okay. So I just want you guys to know that's one thing though that a lot of people have been asking me is like, hey, should I do tirzepatide? And I just want you to know, I don't think that there's any reason. Now, like I said, if money's not an option, if money's not a factor for you, okay, then I probably would say start on tirzepatide, right? It definitely has. There's been multiple studies that do show that they lose a little bit more weight with tirzepatide, right? I definitely think the side effects are a little bit less with tirzepatide, okay? Definitely. But for everybody else, right? If money's kind of a factor, you don't really want to waste money, which I think a lot of us are like that, then I think sticking with semaglutide is just fine. And then, like I said, if you get to the highest dose of semaglutide, okay, then let's switch over. Okay. I also want to remind you guys, we've had a lot of questions. If you guys are a new patient, right? If you guys are a new patient, you can't just come do semaglutide with us, right? If you've done a program with us before, you know how we work. You know that we are not just a clinic here that's out selling things, right? That's never how we are. I'm doing whatever I can to make sure that they are successful. Okay. That is something that I'm passionate about. And every single person that is part of our CMC is part of our family. Like that is it, that simple. Okay. I don't think you would talk to one person that would not tell you that we do not truly care about making sure that our patients get to their goal weight. Okay. So if you've already done a program with us, absolutely, right? You know how we work. You know the program, you know the protocols. You can definitely do semaglutide. Okay. If you've never done that program with us, yes, I understand that it sucks, right? But I'm going to tell you guys right now, especially with semaglutide, just like you saw right on here, our girl Nicole, right? She got super sick with semaglutide. When you're on a program, guess what? We're going to switch you to something else. We're going to make sure that it does it right. We do not want anybody to not have a good experience when they are on that program. That is unacceptable. Good morning, Miss Rosie. All right. So that is why we are so passionate about making sure that when a new patient comes in, we do whatever we can. You can do an 8-week program, right? That would be the least amount of program you could do. You do an 8-week program. And then after that, if you're like, yeah, I'm good, I'm golden, I know what to do. Absolutely. You can just come in and purchase that semaglutide or tirzepatide or some Orlin or whatever it is that you want. Okay. All right. So hopefully that helps you guys. Hope I answered some questions with that. But let me know if you guys need anything. Let me know what I can do to help you guys. Because as you know, that is my mission in life, is to help as many people win this. And I want you guys to know it can be done, right? It can be done. So hope you guys have the best day ever. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.